Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce the mayor of Rancho Palos Verdes, who's been a very popular mayor. He's done a fantastic job, and he's really something very special. John Cruikshank, and he'll say a few words about 2 miles up the road. They're having some problems with slides into a thing called the Pacific Ocean, and a lot of people would like to hear about it and what the mayor's doing to get it remedied, and he'll take care of it. So, John, please.
Well, I was only expecting to come speak with the president today, and he's gracious enough to invite me to speak to you all, which is an important moment for the city of Rancho Palos Verdes. In 2002, the Trump Golf Course opened up here, and they've been a great business here in our community. As the president mentioned, our city has been having a lot of issues with a landslide that's less than a mile from here. We have about 600 homes, several thousand residents that have been affected. They've lost power, gas, and it's been moving at an unprecedented rate for the last couple of years because of the rain. We believe we can solve the problem, but we really need the assistance of the state of California and the federal government. We have solutions out there for that, but the problem is bigger than the city of Rancho Palos Verdes, and so it's important that we get the attention and the help of the people of California and of the federal government. So I'm here to thank the president of having me here today. Obviously, I'm a tiny bit nervous. This is a very big deal. Oh, thank you. So anyhow, we very much appreciate you all being here. And of course, I know you're here for the president, but covering what's going on in our city is really important. And it's meant a lot to our community of 42,000 people. So thank you so much.
He doesn't do too much, but you have a lot of people living over there, and I think John would like to see the help of the state government and the federal government, and so far they're missing in action. Okay? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. This is Trump National Los Angeles, and it's been a tremendous success for a long time. I guess Lily would be 18 or 19 years, I think, right? And I built it, and I have a little bit of a motto, but we never have to advertise because it's always loaded up with golfers, very good golfers. It's a world championship course. It fronts on the Pacific Ocean, as you can see. It actually fronts, very few courses front on the Pacific Ocean. There's Pebble Beach and there's some others, but I always say I have the ocean, Pebble Beach has the bay. The ocean's better than the bay. And this course is one of the best courses anywhere in the world, and it's done really well, and we've had a lot of fun with it, so it's been great. It's a major property, as you can imagine. We do also lots of weddings and lots of events, and in the ballroom right behind you. And people get married literally on a nightly basis looking over the Pacific Ocean. So we have something that's very special. We're proud of it. Well, thank you all for being here. Before we begin, I want to express my support for all of the families affected by the landslides in Rancho Palos Verdes. The slides are something can be taken care of. This area is very solid. But you go down a couple of miles down, you'll see something that's pretty amazing. The mountain is moving, and it can be stopped. But they need some help from the government, so I hope they get the help, and I'm sure John will have the help. And I want to thank the mayor for the great job he's doing. I tell that to the people, what a great job he's doing. I just met with the mayor, and especially want to salute all of the public safety and emergency personnel who are working down the road, as well as the utility workers who are fighting to restore service to local residents. It's another thing when you live along the coast. Sometimes that happens. It's a little bit more difficult, but when they fix it, there's nothing like it. There really is nothing like it. I'm here today in California with a very simple message for the American people. We cannot allow Comrade Kamala Harris and the communist left to do to America what they did to California. The state of California is a mess with people leaving, and nothing's going to stop them. They're going to other states. Some are going to other countries. But what they've done, Gavin Newsom and Kamala, I'd almost say Kamala more so, she destroyed San Francisco and she destroyed the state. When you look at the kind of destruction that's taken place, it's all man-made or woman-made destruction too. It's things that should have never happened, but we're not going to let that happen with 4 more years of her in the White House, because if you have what happened to this country as what they allowed to happen in California and San Francisco, one of the great cities of the world 15 years ago, and today it's not in a very good position, to put it mildly, and this state, which is probably the best piece of real estate in the world, this state, you have the sunshine, you have the ocean, you have everything, you have the perfect weather, the best weather, and they've hurt it so badly, so badly. Decades ago, San Francisco was known as one of the most beautiful cities anywhere in the world. A friend of mine, a friend of a lot of the people here, Bob Tisch, used to say San Francisco is the best city in the United States, the best city there is. And he passed away a number of years ago, but he wouldn't believe it. He used to always talk about San Francisco as our greatest city. He owned Lowe's, good company, great company. And he would say it constantly, and now you see what's happened. And it can be brought back, just like our country can be brought back, because we're a nation in decline. The decline of this whole state is one of the sad chapters in what's gone on with the radical left lunatics that we have to put up with. As the San Francisco district attorney, Kamala was the godmother of sanctuary cities. She was right out there at the forefront, and also the movement of defunding the police. She was there right at the beginning. She boasted, quote, "We are a sanctuary city and we always will be." Well, they're sanctuary cities of crime. One of the people that Kamala gave sanctuary city to and put in as DA was Edwin Ramos, an illegal alien MS-13 gang member who savagely murdered a father and his 2 sons after mistaking them for members of a rival gang. She knew this, and she came to his defense. He had previously been arrested for robbing a pregnant woman and killing many, they say. Kamala refused to get him out of our country, and he went on to do very significant damage. She also gave sanctuary to illegal alien Ronnie Aguilera, who murdered a 14-year-old boy, nearly decapitating him with a sword. He enjoyed watching this take place with a sword by his hand. Kamala launched her tenure as DA with a San Francisco police group described as a, quote, fire sale for plea deals. They made plea deals. The only one they don't make a plea deal with is Trump. They go after their political opponent, especially when they haven't done anything wrong. You saw more charges were dropped yesterday in Atlanta, Georgia. It's all politically inspired. It's all against their political opponent. We won the case in the big case. They said the big case, the big case. I've completely won that case. The documents case in Florida. Case was thrown out with deranged Jack Smith, deranged prosecutor, that if he devoted his efforts to violent crime and to the border, which they should have, would be in a lot better position as a country. In one sweetheart deal, Kamala gave only 12 years to a monster known as David Taylor, who got high on crack and murdered a 65-year-old mother with a hammer and a pair of scissors. He wanted to come out, and she wanted to get him out as quickly as possible. In another plea deal, she gave only 6 years to a man who killed a disabled veteran with a knife and then left his body to rot in a bathtub. Kamala refused to seek the death penalty for a gang member who murdered San Francisco police officer Isaac Espinoza. during a traffic stop, very innocent traffic stop. To explain her decision. Why would you do this? Why would you give such leniency to somebody that just killed his officer's son? A major, the San Francisco Police Officers Association has refused her a single race since she became district attorney. The police don't endorse her. She's got virtually no endorsements now, but I have almost every police group in the United States. We just got the endorsement of almost 400,000 police. You saw that. And just police group in the country. The endorsement just about every single police group in the United States. And unadulterated, they are so happy to endorse. After Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom took charge of San Francisco, homelessness increased by over 200%. While Comrade Kamala Harris was Attorney General of this state, murders rose significantly. Car thefts went through the roof. Gun assaults rose at levels never seen before. Attorney General, she defined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as nonviolent crimes. She put them in a new category as nonviolent. Now, as vice president, she's facilitated the largest wave of sex trafficking and human trafficking in history, the history of our country by far. And in case you don't want to write about it, which you should, because there can be no bigger scandal than this, we have, under this administration, 325,000 migrant children are missing. 325,000. In other words, take your biggest stadium in California and you could fill it up 5 or 6 times. Those are all missing children. Many of them are dead. Many of them are sex slaves and slaves of different nature. But her destruction of the law and order in California did not end there. In 2020, Kamala Harris proudly endorsed defund the police. We're going to defund the police. Anybody that was even in favor of defunding the police for 1 month, let alone her entire career, should never be president of the United States. She supported a plan to cut the LA Police Department by at least 150. Very significant heights. Today, it's at the highest level it's ever been. Harris also endorsed the Marxist, Soros-backed prosecutor, George Gascon, to be district attorney of Los Angeles. And with Kamala's support, Gascon has unleashed hell upon the residents of Los Angeles, absolute hell. Kamala supported Gascon's decision to stop prosecuting criminals for trespassing, disturbing the peace, making criminal threats, loitering to commit prostitution, and resisting arrest. And these are some of the best areas in your state. They were left alone. They were protected by him, actually protected by him. They've been trying to get him out for a long time, but she helped. And this is where she's coming from as president. This is where she's coming from. This is why all of her policies changed. She was anti-fracking. She was anti-everything. And all of a sudden, she changed. Even the first question she was given at the debate gave one of the dumbest answers. They were asking about pricing and would you be better off today or 4 years ago? Prices have gone up at numbers that nobody's ever seen before. And just the concept of being better off, she didn't give the answer. She talked about when she grew up, nobody knew what the hell she was talking about. And based on the polls, it didn't work because Rasmussen, as you probably saw, just came out and they just lifted me up by 6 points for president, which is one of the biggest increases they've ever had in one little short period of time of a couple of days, up 6 points. And I thought the debate was great. I thought I did very well, but I was fighting three people. I was fighting the crazy left radical lunatics at ABC, I think considered the worst, by me, considered the worst broadcaster out there. George Slobodanopoulos, that whole group, they're bad. And I lost a lot of respect for David Muir. He came at me with things, and we'll go over it in a second, but I was right about the crime stats going way up. The fact is the FBI didn't report them, and we're able to keep the stats essentially flat. But the new numbers came in. I guess somebody in government likes me because the new numbers were just released, and you'll see the kind of numbers that we're talking about went not only up, but up at record levels like nobody's seen before when everything was included. And thanks to Kamala, since 2020, crime and drug overdose deaths here have skyrocketed by 40, 50, and 60%, and murder has reached an all-time high. We don't want this for our country. That's why I'm doing this. I don't like doing this, other than I know you all have the nicest view you're going to ever have. But somebody's got to explain this one. There's a radical left, Marxist, communist, fascist. As border czar, she then launched a colossal invasion of California's southern border. Just yesterday, the Wall Street Journal reported that a Venezuelan gang is expanding its deadly reach in the United States. First sentence of the story begins, U.S. law enforcement officials have watched with alarm the spread of a Venezuelan gang known for dismembering people. Dismembering people, right? Dismembering people. From Chile to Colombia, they're all over the place. Now they're in our country. They're known as MS-13. They're considered the meanest, toughest gang in the world. In Long Island, not so long ago, two young 16-year-old girls were walking to school, and they carved them up with a knife. They killed both of them. They carved them up with a knife. They didn't want to shoot them. And we got them out. I got them out so fast, and we did a big number. And I wanted to thank ICE while I'm at it, because ICE has been unbelievable. Border Patrol has been unbelievable. And she wants to get rid of ICE. She wants to dismember ICE. She wants to take them out. And if you didn't have ICE, you'd have a problem in this country. ICE would go in. I remember in Long Island with us, they had a gang that was brutal, MS-13 gang. They came out of prisons from different places. And they formed, for whatever reason, Long Island seems to be a place. And I'll never forget the scene of ICE going into a rat's nest, they call them, when you have a lot of them together, rat's nest. And they walked into that nest, and you just saw arms and fists and feet. Everybody was flying. And 3 minutes later, he saw it. 3 minutes later, they walked out with these guys, dragging them out by their feet and throwing them into paddy wagons and bringing them into jails. And then we got them out of the country and moved them back to where they came from, which Obama was unable to do when he was president. Obama was unable to do because the countries wouldn't participate. They wouldn't allow him back. But I called those countries, three of them. Guatemala, take a look. Mexico, too, to a large extent. And I think probably the worst of all, we had four countries. Colombia was rough. We had four in South America. But the South America is no longer the problem. We have bigger problems elsewhere. Guatemala, a lot of problems in Guatemala. A lot of bad people coming out. We called, I said, let me speak to the president. I told him, you're not getting any more foreign aid. I got $750 million a year. I said, no more foreign aid. Why? Because you send people over in caravans and you won't take them back, and they're criminals, and we don't want them in this country. And you wouldn't take them back with Obama. They would put planes on the runways, big planes on the runways, so you couldn't land the planes loaded up with prisoners. And I said, that's okay. You can keep doing it. We're not paying you 10 cents. And they called me back 20 minutes later, one of them the next day, three countries. And they said, we would be honored to take MS-13 back. We like them very much. We're wonderful people. And we got them out by the thousands and thousands. We got them out. And that I attribute to ICE and Border Patrol. They're incredible people. Not only is Comrade Howard, I mean, if you take a look at this, but not only is Comrade Kamala allowing illegal aliens to stampede across our border, But then it was announced about a year ago that they're actually flying them in. Nobody knew that. They were secretly flying in hundreds of thousands of people. Some of the worst murderers and terrorists you've ever seen. They were taking anybody that wanted to come in. And they're flying them in. So when they tell you about their borders a little bit better than it used to be, they only did that for election reasons. Not good, but it's a little bit better. But they don't tell you that the flights are still coming in here, bringing in thousands and thousands of illegal aliens, and they're being dropped into the midsection of our country because all states are really border states right now. And I'm the border president. I solved it in 2016, probably got elected because of that in 2016. And really, there was nothing to do in 2020. I said to my people, I want to talk about the border, what a job I did. They said, sir, nobody cares you did it. It was good. We went from a terrible border to a great border very quickly. I did a great job. And then I come in and I look at what's happening now. And the only difference is that the border in 2016 was 1/20th what it is now. We have the worst border in the history of the world. There's never been a border like this. And I want to be the border president, and I hope you call me the border president because I'm going to show you what a border security job we can do, and we're going to do a job like never has been done before. There's never been a border like this. I believe the real number is 21 million people are here, and many are thugs, criminals. And remember this, if you go to South America and if you go to these countries that have taken their prisoners out of their jails to empty their jails and dumped them into the United States like we're a dumping ground, you're going to see their crime rates have gone down by 50, 60, 70, and 80%. If you look at Caracas, Venezuela, they took their criminals and drug dealers and rapists off the street and they dumped them into the United States of America. Dumping ground, they call it. We're a dumping ground for Venezuela because we have stupid people running our country. And you think Biden's bad? This one's going to be worse than Biden. Over the past 3.5 years, Kamala has resettled 500,000 illegal migrants from Haiti into American communities, including over 200,000 who Kamala has illegally flown into the United States by airplane when they couldn't get through the border because the border guards backed up. They were refusing to let them in. They don't want it. They love this country. They're saying, you can't do this to our country. They flew them in right over the top of the border guards, and they're doing it right now. They're doing it right now. In Springfield, Ohio, 20,000 illegal Haitian migrants have descended upon a town of 58,000 people, destroying their way of life. They've destroyed the place. And people don't like to talk about it because even the town doesn't like to talk about it because it sounds so bad for the town. They live there. They're proud. They love the town. For years, it was a great place, safe, nice. Now they have 20,000, and I actually heard today it's 32,000. It's the new number. Illegal aliens are now coming in from all over the world, from prisons, jails, mental institutions. They're coming in at levels that we've never seen before. We cannot let this happen to our country. And I will be your border president, and I hope you call me a border president. I never thought I'd have to say that again because we fixed the border, and now it was 100% beautiful. And that includes fentanyl and drugs and everything else. We had it fixed, and now nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I guess they want to do it because we built hundreds of miles of wall, and we had hundreds of miles, I said, after we completed, much more than I said I was going to complete. And it had a huge impact. But after I completed it, we had all of this wall to be put up. It could have been put up in 200 miles, could have been put up in 3 weeks, would have been totally sealed and much larger than I originally said, but it worked so well. We were doing so well. And not only didn't they put it up, they sold much of it for 5 cents on the dollar. Very expensive wall, has wires inside of it for technology. Hardened steel, hardened concrete, and rebar. They wanted all three. I did it as per the Border Patrol. I disagreed with the look. They said, sir, this is the only way. We had to put a anti-climb panel on top. The panel on top is an anti-climb panel. I said, I don't like the way it looks. They say, I know, but it stops people from climbing. I said, all right, we'll do it the way you want. A president has a duty to keep you safe. Kamala will turn America into a poor, violent, third world refugee camp. It already sort of is. We have elections that are a mess, and we have a border that's the worst of any border ever in the world. There's never been a country ever in the world that's allowed 21 million people to come across in a short period of time. And children and the children of American citizens are at the mercy of barbaric criminals. You take a look at what's happening in Colorado. The governor's afraid to even talk about it. The governor, he's a Democrat. Colorado, I hope you're going to vote for Trump because you're being stampeded by your own politicians. The governor can't talk about it because he can't go against the policies of these lunatics that want all these people to come into our country without knowing who they are. We don't even know where they come from. As of last week, I was told by Tom Homan, we had 168 countries represented over the last 12 months. In other words, people came in illegally from 168 different countries. Most people don't know there's that many countries. There's more than that in the world. We'll know them all pretty soon, I'm sure. In breaking news yesterday, the premier statistical agency at the Justice Department, you remember where David Muir tried to correct me when I said that crime is rampant like never before. He said, oh, no. He said, crime is going down. I said, where are you coming from? And, you know, you wouldn't have to need a Bureau of Justice statistics to know that crime is worse than it's ever been. And I guess they probably watched the debate and they heard this foolish man, this foolish fool make that statement to me that, no, crime is coming down. The FBI said it was coming down. The FBI defrauded everybody. Because what they did is they used statistics not including some of the worst areas and some of the worst cities. So the real numbers are from the Bureau of Justice Statistics, and they just released it. So I think they probably like me because they wanted to defend me from people that are not smart, from a guy who has good hair but not as good as it was 5 years ago, to be honest. And they just released brand new numbers just out last night, late, showing that since 2020, so this guy, David Muir, was correcting me, the FBI. Now, the FBI defrauded, just like they defrauded on the jobs, 118,000 jobs that didn't exist. The FBI, in this case, defrauded. So violent crime, just out, nationwide is up 40%. Rape is up 42%. Car theft is up 42%. Aggravated assaults are up 55%. And violent attacks on strangers are up much more than 61%. So those are your numbers. See, those are the numbers. Now, I think he corrected me 11 times. Of the 11 times, I don't think he had the right to correct me at all. Didn't correct her once. Like on Project 2025, I have no idea about, it had nothing to do with me. He didn't correct her. He knew that. Charlottesville, nothing was done wrong. All you had to do is read my statement one more sentence, and you would have seen that. Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Jesse, all of them, Greg Gutfeld, they all took that and they corrected it many times. But they keep coming with the same lies. I'm going to save Social Security. And I'm going to make it good, and we're not going to raise the age, just as I did for 4 years when many Democrats wanted me to do something about it. And she'll go around saying, oh, Trump is going to do bad things to Social Security. No, she's going to do it because she's putting these illegal immigrants onto Social Security, onto Medicare, and she's going to destroy those programs, and the people are going to have to pay. But I'm going to save them. But David Muir said exactly, I quote, President Trump, as you know, this is after I made the statement that crime is at record numbers. President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is coming down in this country. Now, anybody that says it's coming down, when you look at all of the migrant crime and all of the other crime, and this doesn't even include most of the migrant crime. So it's up 55, 65, 75, and 85. In one category is up 89%. And these numbers have just been released by the government. I appreciate the person that released them. I think he came to my defense, actually. But the people understand it. In fact, he was wrong. The FBI totally fudged the numbers. And I really believe it's actually a fraud what the FBI did. It's a fraud. And it was a fraud when the administration, I call it the Kamala, because I don't even know who our president is anymore. Where is this guy? They took it away. This was an overthrow of the president of the United States. This was a coup. He got 14, think of it. He got 14 million votes. She got no votes. She was the first one that lost, and now I'm running against her. They went in. I was 19 points up in the poll. I saw their poll. They went up after the debate with Biden. I have debates with everybody. But the first debate, we had two debates. We didn't have one. First, I had Biden, and he was 19 to 21 down. And they went, that's when they went, and they said, you can't win, you're going to get out. And he said, no, I'm not going to get out, which was his right to say. They said, well, if you don't get out, we're going to execute the 25th Amendment. And he said, like I said, I'm going to get out. And he hates her beyond any, I think he hates her probably almost as much as he hates me. I think he still hates me a little bit more. But he hates her. He hates her. He hates what she did. And, you know, when they talk about democracy, well, that's not democracy. He had 14 million votes. She had none. And she was the first one out of the 22 people or so that ran as a Democrat. She never made it to Iowa, first state. She never made it to Iowa. She was the first one out, and now she's running. So you tell me how that works. They wanted to be politically correct, that's all. But we're not going to let her destroy our country. In fact, the David Muir character, he's lost so much respect. Everyone's talking about him. He's a joke. And ABC News is a joke, too. But most of the fake news is pretty much of a joke. He said that the FBI, and he didn't know this, I guess, at the time. He probably did. But the numbers and the cities that weren't included in those numbers were Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, New Orleans, and many others of similar crime numbers. In other words, so they didn't include the worst crime numbers in the country. Look at those numbers. Chicago's not included. Los Angeles not included. So they could say the numbers are flat, but they didn't include the big boys. And that's a fraud on the public. And as I said, it was a fraud also, just like with so it's 818,000 jobs that they said existed that didn't exist. And they thought they could hold the number off until after the election, anytime after November 5th. But that didn't work out because they had a whistleblower that released the numbers. And then you have Kamala's claim that she worked at McDonald's. She never worked at McDonald's. It's a lie. They went in, they investigated it, and the fake news won't report that. They won't report it. The only one that reported it was Fox, but the fake news won't. She never worked at McDonald's. She said she stood over those French fries when they were being fried, and it was so tough work. She never worked there. She's a liar. She's a liar. But the fake news ought to report she's a liar, because that sounds like a little thing, but it's a big thing, because it tells you they lie. They lie about everything. They lie about statements on the military. Nobody loves the military more than me. She got up today. She said things that were just lies. She's just made up. What's bad for Trump? Oh, this would be, say something bad about the military. Oh, he said bad about the military. Just like McDonald's, a total lie. That's the way they do it. And her VP choice, I think, will go down as a catastrophic choice. Now, maybe I'll be wrong. I'll let you know on November 6th. But I can't believe that that guy is an asset. They had other people that would have been. Comrade Kamala Harris and the communist left have also destroyed the economy and the quality of life all across this state and all across our country. As vice president, what she's done to our country is not even thinkable. California has the highest inflation, the highest taxes, the highest gas prices, the most illegal aliens, the most regulations, the most expensive utilities, and it ranks as the third worst state to start a business. It also has the most people leaving it. I love this place. Look at this. I own this. No partners, no mortgage, no nothing. I own it. And I'm talking so badly about the state. It hurts me to do it. I would never do this except for the fact that I'm running for president and